you all for being out here today. And I especially want to thank the 6 people in front of the door that have been out here since 6 a.m. this morning. For your commitment and your dedication, and keep sticking it out. For all of you guys who got here at 10 o'clock, the weather miraculously got a lot better when you guys got here. They were putting up with rain and cold this morning, and so don't go away because you made the weather a lot better. And these guys are not going away either. They're going to stick it out. They're going to stick it out for as long as it takes to actually get an open dialogue with Drew Faust and the Harvard Corporation about divesting from fossil fuels. And it's absurd. It's absurd that this is what it takes to get an open dialogue at Harvard University with the president and with the students who are committed to social justice and climate justice. It's absurd that students have to go to this length to get the attention of their administration and to show that we are committed to defending a livable future, and we want our university to be in that struggle with us. Instead of an open dialogue, all the requests for an open dialogue that Divest Harvard has been issuing since last fall, all those requests have been met with a closed mind and with declarations that Harvard will not divest, that Harvard will not stand with us. The rhetoric we're hearing from Drew Faust and the administration is that they don't want to be political, that's not what the endowment is for. It's not for making political statements. It's not for trying to affect change in the world. It's not for standing up for our values. That they want to be apolitical. But that is not an option. And that is an old line that many comfortable people who have not wanted to pick a side in battles for social justice have tried to use that line. And there's an apt poem by Wisława Szymborski that I'd like to read for you. It's called Children of Our Era. We are children of our age. It's a political age. All day long, all through the night, all affairs, yours, ours, theirs, are political affairs. Whether you like it or not, your genes have a political past, your skin a political cast, your eyes a political slant. Whatever you say reverberates. Whatever you don't say speaks for itself. So either way, you're talking politics. Even when you take to the woods, you're taking political steps on political grounds. Apolitical poems are also political. And above us shines a moon no longer purely lunar. To be or not to be, that is the question, and though it troubles the digestion, it's a question, as always, of politics. To acquire a political meaning, you don't even have to be human. Raw material will do, or protein feed, or crude oil, or a conference table whose shape was quarreled over for months. Should we arbitrate life and death at a round table or a square one? Meanwhile, people perished, animals died, houses burned, and the fields ran wild, just as in times immemorial and less political. We are here to remind Drew Faust and the Harvard Corporation that even if they want to pretend otherwise, we know we are living in a political age, and so are they. And every action they take, and every action they refuse to take, picks their side in the political question of our age, which is how are we going to respond to the climate crisis. We have to take a position in this. We cannot pretend that we are apolitical. Because on one side, we have young people begging for a livable future, begging that Harvard University joins them in trying to create a healthy and just future. And on the other side, you have the fossil fuel industry that says don't get involved, just keep doing what you're doing, keep your head down, stay apolitical. So when you don't get involved, you automatically pick the side of those in power. That's the way it is in any struggle between those in power and the powerless. That's right. When you don't pick a side, you automatically choose those in power. You automatically choose the status quo. And that is what Harvard is doing here today. That's why we need an open dialogue on this, to air this out, to bring this out into the public, to bring Drew Faust and the Harvard Corporation out into the public, and make them not just issue declarations from behind closed doors, but actually look us in the eye and tell us whether or not they're on our side in defending a livable future. The other piece of rhetoric that we get from behind closed doors from Drew Faust and the corporation is that these young folks just don't understand how change works. They just don't understand how to make things happen. That, of course, they're on our side. Of course, they agree with us in principle, and they care about climate change. But these folks just don't understand how change works. And that's an absurd thing to say, particularly coming from a person of a generation who has known about the climate crisis for longer than these folks have been alive and have failed to do what is necessary to stop it. They have failed to create the kind of change that we need. They have known about this crisis for 30 years, and they have not created the kind of change that we need. So if anybody should be saying, you don't understand how change works, it should be young people saying that to old folks. We've tried it your way. You've had your chance. You've had your chance to defend a livable future, and you haven't done it. And so now this is the step that we're driven to, of trying another way. And those of us who have engaged in trying to struggle for a just climate out in the real world for a while now, we've seen that the big roadblock to our success is the political power of the fossil fuel industry. For in the academic discourses at this university, it's easy to talk about things in the abstract and talk about theories and to talk about theories of change. But when you get outside of these academic halls and you actually try to get stuff done in the real world, you find that the biggest obstacles to our success is the political power of the fossil fuel industry. And the divestment campaign is one effort to try to undermine that political power. And we might need more. We need a lot of efforts to try to undermine that political power. And this campaign is tied into a larger movement struggling for climate justice. But unless people have better ideas for how to undermine that political power, then they're not really serious about tackling climate change. You can talk about research, you can talk about cutting emissions and changing our light bulbs and stuff like that, but unless you're willing to challenge the political power of the fossil fuel industry in our system today, you're not really serious about tackling climate change. And we're all here today, these 6 are here to stay, to let Harvard and Drew Faust know that it's time to get serious about fighting climate change, and it's time to stand up to one of the most powerful and destructive industries in our society today. That's why we're here, and that's why we're not going away. Thank you. Yeah!